from the TTL Makerspace, and today I'm going to teach you how to safely use a table saw. There are a few things we do to keep ourselves safe before using the table saw. The first is we want to make sure that we don't have any loose or dangling clothing that can get caught in the blade while we're making the cut. That includes things like hoodie strings or wide sleeves. If you are wearing long sleeves, just make sure that you roll them up a little bit. The next thing we want to think about is eye protection. So we always want to make sure we've got safety glasses on while operating the table saw. The third thing that we want to think about is ear protection. As soon as you turn on the table saw, it's good to have these on. Now, before using the table saw, we need to make sure our workspace is clear. You want to make sure that your area behind you is also clear. Make sure that there's nobody set up working behind you or is expecting to pass through. So now I'll explain how to do a cut. Oh, material first. Before running any material through the table saw, you want to make sure that you've checked it for any foreign objects. This could be anything like staples or old nails, especially if it's something that's reclaimed. We want to make sure that there's nothing in the material. You can use a metal detector to ensure that there's nothing in it. Just make sure that you take it away from the table saw.
That's actually very good.
Now that that's all squared away, we can start setting up for a cut. When you're using a table saw, you want to make sure that you're comfortable turning it off before you even turn it on. Our stop button is located down on the left-hand side. That's usually where they are. And it's in a spot where you can actually comfortably push it with your leg. That is a good thing to get comfortable doing because sometimes when you're midway through a cut and something goes wrong and you need to turn it off, you want to keep your hands in control of the material while still being able to turn the machine off. Once we're comfortable pushing the stop button, we're ready to look at setting up our fence. So the fence is this piece right here, and we can move it, and this is what establishes the width of our cut. Now, in order to safely use a fence, we need to make sure that our material is flat and square, so that it's not going to rock at all as we're pushing it along the edge of the fence. Just try running your material along the fence, making sure that you don't have any gaps between your material and the fence. It should look like one consistent straight line. The table saw blade is set to cut in a straight line. Issues arise when we put pressure on the blade from the side. It can cause it to send the material back at us, or what we call kickback. We want to make sure that we avoid that by making sure that the material that we're pushing through is flat, it's square, and it's predictable. So before using the table saw, you might need to do a little bit of work on the joiner and planer before your material is ready to bring to the table saw. We want to make sure that our material is always moving in one straight line. So using the fence is the way that we do that. We never use the table saw without using a fence. Another way that we keep ourselves safe when using the table saw is standing to the left of the blade. We want to make sure that we're not in this zone right here. This is the kickback danger zone. So if for some reason something does go wrong, we don't want to be in the path of the material. We want to be over to the side and close to our stop button. There's one other thing on the table saw that's actually helping prevent kickback, and that's our riving knife that's just on the back, right behind the blade. Its width is set to be the same size as the cut that you're making, and that means that it's helping hold the material open as you're passing your material through, preventing it from pinching down on the blade. The next thing we want to consider is that our blade is high enough to cut through our material. Now, when we look closely at our blade, we've got teeth, and then we've got these dips in between our teeth. And we actually want to make sure that these dips in between the teeth of our blade are actually above our material surface. So when I put the material up, I'm going to adjust my blade height so that we can see the bottom of these dips above the surface. That means that as it's cutting, if any chips accumulate in those dips, that they can clear out as they pass above the surface of the material. So now we need to set up the width of our cut. We need to first decide how wide our cut is going to be. Ours today is going to be 4 inches wide. Now, how I set this up using the fence is that when I look closely at the blade, we can see that some of the teeth stick over to the right and some of them stick over to the left. This creates a cut that's bigger than the body of the blade. That prevents a lot of friction on the blade as we're making our cut. So we want to actually find the tooth that's sticking closest to the fence. That determines the actual width of our cut. Now, when I find a tooth like this one that's sticking closest to the fence, I'm going to use my measuring tape and I'm going to nudge the fence over until it lands right on where I want it to be, at that 4 inches mark. Now, I'm gonna double check this at multiple points on the blade, finding teeth that are sticking over to the right-hand side, making sure that it's all the same. If they all look good, then we can lock our fence in place and then double check again that it didn't move as you were locking it. Looks good. One thing to note is that often on table saws, you'll see this ruler on the front here. They are often not actually accurate, so don't trust this. Trust your tape. It's tempting to try to trust this, but these are often not correctly calibrated. So now we're ready to make our cut. We want to make sure that we have a push stick handy. This is going to help us push our material through when we're doing these narrower cuts. If we're doing something wider than 6 inches, it's fine to just use your hand. That means you have good control of the material, but for something narrower, we want to keep our hands safe, so a push stick is a good way to do that. All right, so before we start our cut, just a reminder, you want to be standing to the left of the blade, and you don't want to be standing way back here. You want to be right up close so that you can actually follow through. You want to make sure that you can reach all the way to push the material past the back of the riving knife. It's okay if the material falls on the floor. You can set up something to catch it, or you can ask a friend to catch it, not to pull it out for you, but to catch it. So when you're ready to make your cut, you want to make sure that your left hand is pressing the material in towards the fence. It can be helping the material forward, but it's your right hand's job to actually push the material through the cut. It's your left hand's job to just keep it nice and pressed up against the fence so that you're doing a fully straight cut. You don't want your left hand to continue too far up, however. You want to avoid having your hand up here and putting pressure into the side of the blade. So really, your left hand's job is done once the back of your material has passed the front of the blade. So let's see if I get kickback. All right, so when you're ready to turn on the blade, make sure that your material isn't anywhere close to it. Make sure there's nothing else on the bed of the table saw. You don't want anything to kind of rattle over into the blade when you turn it on. So,
activated. Disengage.
Okay, so now I should talk about letting it turn all the way off before you do anything. So when you've completed your cut, you want to make sure that you turn it off and then you wait for the blade to stop spinning. Don't worry about grabbing this or reaching over the blade. You want to make sure that you wait, turn it off, let it stop spinning, then go get your material. Never walk away from the saw with it still turned on. It's okay to continue through cuts, but anytime you're moving your body positioning, if you're walking away from the saw, you need to make sure you turn it off and you see that the blade has fully stopped. Yeah. Okay. So sometimes something will go wrong while you're making a cut. You'll feel an extra amount of tension. It'll feel like you can't really push the material through properly. You might notice that you're getting some gapping between your material and your fence. If something feels wrong, it's important to not just push through, cross your fingers, and hope it works out, okay? You want to stop that cut and then figure out what the problem is. Now, if you're going to stop a cut, you want to make sure you're staying in control of your material. So you want to make sure that you have both hands or your push stick still engaged until the saw stops spinning. So when you realize something's gone wrong, you're going to stop moving the material forward. You're going to use your leg to push that stop button, and then you're going to wait till the saw completely stops spinning. Don't move your hands off until it has fully come to a stop. Then you can move the material away from the saw blade and figure out what's gone wrong.
Override.
No, it's not. It's not working. No, it must be jammed. I bet it's jammed right maybe in there.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, I bet it's this. Let me just
There was a lot of nasty crap in it.
it's relentless. It's never ending. Oh, nice.
Keeps giving.
It's the worst type of dust. We good?
Yeah.
Good to go? So that covers the basics of using a table saw. If you're working in the makerspace, remember you're working as part of a community. So if you're unsure about what you're doing, just reach out to the people around you or one of the staff members to give you a hand, and we're always happy to help. So remember, when using the table saw, make sure that you're wearing the appropriate clothing and protective gear. Always ensure that your workspace is clear. Take the time to prepare your material carefully. Properly set up your blade height and your fence positioning. Stay in control of your material all the way through your cut, and always be ready to hit the stop button safely. All right, so be safe and enjoy your time in the shop. No, that was bad.